Wow guys, I just made total of $19,000 in my forex fund, PropFirm, and that's like super amazing, especially on a $100,000 account. It's like a 19% gains. That's like super amazing. And this video, I'm not trying to like boast to you guys that I made this amount of money. The focus of this video is to show you guys like how a normal person like me can achieve this amount of money. I am not someone who is very special. I do not have like people who taught me how to trade. I learned everything on my own. So I've been to multiple courses from smart money concepts to um, a lot of strategy indicators and whatever. I've been through everything that you can think about in this trading industry. And I know like how, difficult it is to really achieve this level right here. But I'm just trying to show you guys that it's still possible to achieve it. So in today's video, I want to show you guys like the trades that I took and the things that made me really profitable. And I feel that by telling you guys or sharing with you guys these two things, it will really motivate you guys and really inspire you guys to keep going and push through all your hardship, and hopefully you will achieve what you want in trading. So let's get to the chart right now, and I will explain to you guys the trades that I took and my strategy basically. So basically my strategy, the first thing that you always want to do, I feel that my most strategy, the first thing that every strategy, what they do is they identify the trend. So there's nothing, special about my strategy. I also identify the trend first. So when it comes to identifying the trend, um, there is no right or wrong way to really identify the trend. It really up to you to see how you identify the trend, because I can identify the trend a certain way. Okay, for example, I can identify the trend. Let me take the brush tool. I can identify the trend this way, correct? But some people, they identify trend this way, like those tiny down and ups. So there's no right or wrong way to really identify trend, because like I have traders who identify trend with just like tiny little pullbacks, and they are still very profitable, and most of the time their direction is like correct. It's really up to you to like back test and see what works for you and how each pair react to the way that you draw the trend. Okay, so once you know how to identify the trend based on your own ways, the next thing you want to identify is liquidity. So if you guys do not know, like the trend is your friend, right? I mean, like 90% of the traders, when they start trading, they were taught that you do not want to go against the trend, you want to follow the trend, which is super true, which is very very true. But the thing about banks is, or like big players, they do not care much about the trend. They only care where the liquidity is. So what they do is they like to, when you traders enter right over here, for example, right, you guys enter right over here, which creates this strong level of resistance. The banks know that, hey, a lot of people are entering here and they put their stop loss like right over here. And they also know that this Asia high is not taken. And Asia high, they are known for what? They are known for their liquidity. So liquidity isn't taken out yet for Asia high, and there's a strong level of resistance here where many sellers enter, which is also liquidity. The banks know, and the banks know that most sellers are coming in because the trend is their friend. But the banks, they also afraid to go against the trend, because if they go against the trend, they are gonna risk very huge amount of money against like people who follow the trend. So what they do is they tend to stop out all of these traders first before they start following, the trend. So Knowing what the banks are gonna do, I waited for the liquidity that I've marked out to get stopped out first, and then I enter a trade that follows the trend. So how do I know when to enter the trade? So I look at reversal patterns, which is called the engulfing patterns. So if you were to look over here, the green candle, can you see these 3 red candles? They engulf this green candle, right? So once the candle is engulfed, I set my entry at the closure of the engulfing and stop loss at the high. And my target I went for 1 to 2. I know that I could have aimed more because most of the demand here already tested and price could potentially reach towards this untouched Asia low. But I usually kept my risk to reward to 1 to 2, and that's how I took the trade, which I will pop out over here for you guys to see. And yeah, that's how I trade my strategy. And if you want to really learn more about my strategy, you can learn from ICT. Because my strategy comes from ICT. If you guys do not know what ICT is, it's a inner circle trading. And they post like free educational videos on YouTube. I feel that I shouldn't tell you guys how I trade my strategy. Rather, you should watch how ICT explains his strategy so that you can have your own way of creating the strategy based on his understanding of the market. And that is like way better than just copying my strategy. And also, the reason why I recommend you to build your own strategy is because you will be confident with your own setup. But if you were to trade my strategy, you might not be as confident as trading your own strategy. And confidence in trading is like super important. You want to execute every trade, very precisely, very confidently. Okay, now let's move on to the last thing that I need to share with you guys, which is the things that made me profitable. So the things that made me profitable is knowing that there is no perfect strategy in trading. If you were to look at the idea of like technical analysis, right? Like if you were to read the book called The Technical Analysis, basically technical analysis was founded because of repeatable patterns. I think a trader that wrote the book, right, they talk about how he found price keeps rejecting the same, area. Like it touched there one time, reject another time. Touch there again, rejects again. Touch there again, rejects again. And that's when he says like, okay, if it keeps touching the area and it rejects like most of the time, then why don't I just enter the trade at the 3rd touch or at the 4th touch? And that's what he did. And he entered the trade and he won the trade. So if you were to look at this, if you were to look at it in a bigger picture, right, trading is technically a very database. So basically what I mean by database is because something repeats multiple times, right, it gives you the confidence to enter again. So if let's say you take a trade at a certain price and then you see price keeps rejecting that area like 100 times, you will definitely take it at 101 time, right? Because you saw it rejecting like so many times. So what are the odds that it will reject again, right? You know what I mean? Yeah, so once I found out that strategy isn't everything, but knowing your strategy data is very important. So what I mean by strategy data is, like for my strategy, I know that my strategy makes like 4% every single month for like 2 or 3 years. So it doesn't make sense for me to not trade the strategy, right? I would definitely trade that strategy and make 4% every single month. And that's what I did. I stick to the strategy and I make 4% every single month, 4% every single month. And yeah, that's the first thing that I realized is that trading, there's no best strategy. There's only a strategy that has a proven data that works for years, months. But make sure it's not days, okay? Because if it works for one day, it's not very strong, not very strong evidence that the strategy will work. So, okay, the second thing that I realized that made me profitable is no matter how good your strategy is, no matter how many data you have, you still need to have risk management and a very strong discipline. to really, hit that 4% monthly. Because if let's say you have a strategy, right? And this strategy, you waited like 10 days for the strategy, the setup to appear. And then you start saying, damn, I've waited for like 10 days for this setup to appear. Why don't I just go full margin? Why don't I just risk that extra 1% more to make up for the 10 days that that I've waited for the market? And then you start risking 5%. And then, as you guys know, market always tend to, be very heartless, and they just stop you out. Once they stop loss you, and then you go super crazy. Then the next trade come, you go revenge trade. Now I go 10%. And then next thing you know, you lost again. So what I'm trying to say is that anything can happen in the market. You can have losing streak regardless of how good your strategy is. There is no like 100% win rate, because if there is, there must be one guy who is already a trillionaire, isn't he? Right? He can just risk 100% per trade, and easily he can become a trillionaire in like 1 or 2 years. But there isn't such trader yet, and there isn't such strategy yet. So you have to accept that there is always risk involved in trading. Losses are gonna appear. So you always want to keep your risk to 1 to 2% maximum, and just keep trading, keep trading, keep trading. And also, I know like most traders, they say like, hey, why should I risk 1 to 2%? Like, what is 1 to 2% to $1,000? If I put $1,000 in the market, I'm only gonna make like $20, and $20 is like nothing. Good thing is that many prop firms are, and there's a lot of prop firm coming out these few days, so you should really choose like one prop firm that you like and that fits to your strategy. I mean, works well for your strategy, and then just buy the account, and that's how you get bigger funds to trade. So now that 1 to 2% no longer making you $20, it's probably making you like $1,000 over dollars. And yeah, that's the two things that I realized that made me profitable. And if you guys like this video, right, please give me a thumbs up, because it's like my first video. I would appreciate it. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I wish you guys a successful trading. I will end the video now. And yes, see you guys. Keep working.